Hi, this is William, and today we're going to talk about using cluster analysis. So cluster analysis enables you to group respondents with similar behaviors, preferences, or characteristics into clusters or segments. Through segmentation, you gain a greater understanding of important similarities and differences between your respondents. You can use this information to develop targeted marketing strategies or to provide subgroups for analysis. In the case of survey data, clustering enables marketers to group respondents who provide similar responses on several questions. Clustering or segmentation is a multivariate technique that analyzes responses to several questions in order to find similar respondents. Clustering is based on the concept of creating groups based on their proximity to or distance from each other. Respondents within a cluster, therefore, are relatively homogeneous. There are two types of cluster analysis. Hierarchical observations are joined in a cluster and remain so throughout the clustering. Then non-hierarchical cases can switch clusters as the clustering proceeds. The most common non-hierarchical method is k-means. Cluster analysis requires you to first off check the number of respondents in each cluster, as clusters of only a few respondents are not very useful. Assess whether the clusters make sense and whether their characteristics are easy to understand and describe, and then validate the clusters by analyzing how they relate to other variables. The following cluster analysis example uses a two-step cluster procedure in IBM's SPSS statistics package, which incorporates statistical criteria to determine the optimal number of clusters. In this example, we apply the two-step cluster method to a customer survey data from the hypothetical BSI hotel chain. Though we measure the survey questions on various scales, this does not present a problem, as the two-step cluster method is able to use data on a nominal, ordinal, or interval scales. We tend to create clusters of customers based on the following criteria. So, length of customer relationship, the usefulness of internet access, customer company type, degree of involvement in company's decision to use BSI hotels, and the importance of travel to job. So the first output from the two-step method tells us how many clusters were found and how many respondents are in each cluster. From the table in Figure 2, we see that the two-step method found three natural groups of clusters in the data, and based on the response to the 6 questions above. So we ended up with the 3 clusters, and the nominal value between them, the percent of combined, and percent of total, and then the excluded cases. And the two-step cluster method identified 3 customers. Additional information from the two-step method enables us to understand what type of customer each cluster represents. Figure 3 on the next page, we see, for example, that customers in cluster 1 travel more for work than customers in the other 2 clusters. They frequently stay at BSI hotels. So meanwhile, measured by the length of customer relationship, however, customers in cluster 1 are not the most loyal. So that concludes the presentation on cluster analysis. This is part 1. So stay tuned for part 2 tomorrow. And this is William. I'll see you the next time. In the meantime, take a look at wbweeksjr.com.